everybody! Today I'm going to be showing you what keyboard shortcuts I use in Premiere to help my workflow go a little bit faster. Learning shortcuts can be kind of overwhelming because there's so many of them and you don't know what to learn first and what you really need. In my case, I don't optimize my workflow as much as I can, so I know I can still be even more efficient, but there are some keyboard shortcuts I use regularly, and maybe you'll consider adding them to the ones that you use all the time as well. After all, I don't think there's much point in just straight memorizing shortcuts. You learn shortcuts the most easily when it's something that you use all the time. So today I'm going to use the video that I'm finishing up working on to show you a couple of things. Let's start with navigating the timeline. I'll have a hand on my mouse and a hand on my keyboard, and if you just scroll back and forth, you can scroll backwards and forwards in your video. If you want to zoom in and out, you can hold down Alt and scroll out, and then you can scroll at a faster rate, and hold Alt again and zoom in. So scrolling with your wheel mouse. And if you want to go to a full view of your entire timeline, you can hit the backslash key. So that's pretty much how I navigate my timeline. I'll zoom to where I want. Say I suddenly want to get way back into the rest of the video, I'll zoom out, scroll, find where I want, and then zoom back in. I don't know if this is exactly the fastest way to navigate the timeline, but it's the way I've gotten used to it, and it's fast enough for me. Now let's talk about basic tools over here. Now in terms of basic tools, I basically only use 5. Let's say that we're trying to set up some subtitles. Let me erase my progress right here and pretend I hadn't finished cutting up this subtitle track yet. I've got this one subtitle right here, but I'm trying to cut it up into pieces so that I can edit it for each time it changes. I'll show you what shortcuts I hit while I'm doing this. So first I'm going to find the place I want to cut it by scrubbing slowly on the timeline with my mouse, and I find the cut, and I tend to go here and do frame by frame because I like to keep my hand on the mouse, but if you want to go to your arrow keys also do the same function. So say I find the cut, and I'll hit C on my keyboard, and that selects the cut tool, the razor tool, and if I have snapping on, snapping is right here, this magnet, which is usually on by default, you can just hit around your playhead and it will automatically cut right on your playhead. And then I'll hit V to go back to my pointer tool, and I'll find the next cut about here. I'll make sure I'm on the right frame, hit C again, hit the playhead, and go back to V, and keep cutting like this until I've cut everything up. And you can select and delete ones you don't need like that, and so that's how I've cut up my subtitles. To edit the subtitles, I'm going to hit T on my keyboard, and that gives me the text tool, and I can go into the text and start typing what I want. Once I'm done, I'll deselect, hit V, and go back to my pointer tool. I can also use this pointer tool to move this anywhere I want, but I'm not going to do that right now. So let's say that I finished editing everything, but I felt like it didn't have enough coffee. So I wanted to add some coffee right in between these two clips, but in order to put something in there, I'd have to move everything over and select everything and zoom out and select all this. And sometimes it can be a lot more messy, and it's really difficult to zoom out and select everything correctly. That's when your A tool comes in handy. So you hit A on the keyboard, and this selects what's called the track select forward tool. I just think of it as A for all or forward, I don't know. Anyways, once you hit this on your timeline, if you click, it will select everything that's in front of the place you clicked. So everything from where you clicked all the way until the end. So then you can go back to V, the select tool, and move it along the timeline so you can create a space there while maintaining everything else after it. So now I have space to put my coffee. And here's one habit that I have that may not be the best, but I'll select anything I don't want and I'll hit Shift delete. It will delete the space and everything will ripple in after it. However, probably the better and faster way to do this, other than reaching over to the right side of my keyboard and hitting Shift delete, is to use the ripple edit tool, which is under B. And you can close the gap like this with the ripple edit tool, and it'll basically do the same thing as Shift delete without me reaching over to the other side. But I don't personally use the B tool, but I imagine that would be something that would make your workflow faster if you used it. Alright, so that was 5 most relevant tools on your basic tool keypad. You've got the selection tool, which is your V. Your V is always your normal. You'll want to hit your V a lot. You have C for cut. You have A for selecting everything ahead of your pointer. You have T for text, and we have B for ripple cut, which I don't personally use, but I would recommend that to you. And the last category of shortcuts I want to go over is dragging clips around. So let's say I'm still thinking this needs more coffee, and I want to add coffee over here, but I want to duplicate this coffee, not move it. So I'm going to start dragging this, but hold down Alt while I drag. And once I let go, it will create a duplicate of this. So now I have two coffees and I can add it wherever I want. So Alt is for duplicating. Now, if I want to add more coffee right here, but I want to insert it, not add it, I will start dragging and hit Control. And these little arrows will show up here. And that means it's going to start pushing everything forward just to make a hole where I'm about to put this. So once I drop it, it will make a cut where my playhead was, stick in the coffee, and move everything forward. And lastly, when you drag and hold shift, it will make sure it will stay stacked up right on top of each other, and basically you're just moving it to a different track. And in fact, if you have snapping on, which I pretty much almost always have it on, this is on by default, so you can actually do this drag without having to hold down shift. There are some other combinations like Control Alt and Control Shift, but those get a little complicated. So all you need to know is Alt is for duplicate, Control is for inserting, and Shift is for keeping things stacked on top of each other. And I'll let you know right now, the one I use the most is definitely Alt. I tend to duplicate things a lot. So this was my introduction to keyboard shortcuts, and I showed you 3 categories of shortcuts that I use on the regular. We went over how I navigate the timeline, and how I switch between different tools, and then how I drag clips on the timeline. I hope you found at least one shortcut that you'd like to add to your collection. If you're curious about the full capabilities of your keyboard, you can always go under Edit and Keyboard Shortcuts to see the full keyboard. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.